Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Najihatul Akmal binti Maliki and I will be present about background of Sime Darby. Sime Darby founded in 1910 with the headquarters in Petaling Jaya, and it is the largest conglomerate in Malaysia, also one of the largest in Southeast Asia. Malaysia based broadly diversifies multinational involved in key growth sectors such as plantation, property, motors, industrial equipment, energy and utilities, and healthcare. Sime Darby plays a key role in Malaysia economy, which is a diversified multinational company with a staff of more than 100,000 and operating in 23 countries.
Now moving on to classification of risk. Risk is known as anything that has potential to prevent the company or the organization from achieving the objective. Identifying the risk can increase the efficiency in the company or the organization. Classifying the risk into categories can be more efficient as every risk will need a different approach to be solved. So these are the example of risk categories in Sime Darby, which are operational, market, financial, technology, political, and strategy. Now moving on to enterprise risk management, ERM. ERM is the process of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling the activities in order to reduce the effect of risk on the company or the organization's capitals and earnings. ERM includes financial, strategic, and operational risks in addition to risks associated with accidental losses. Next, moving on to Group Risk Management (GRM) department. So at Sime Darby Berhad, the one that assists the board and RMC in discharging their risk management responsibilities is known as Group Risk Management (GRM) department. So GRM is structured and provide the sufficient support to both the group head office GHO and the divisions toward the implementation of the risk management. GRM is also structured to set the strategic plan to guide the priorities and direction of the group's risk management activities. Next is integration of risk management and internal control. So at Sime Darby Berhad, there are times when the formal ERM framework is being integrated into a wider management framework. So the group has embedded risk assessment into key operational activities and decision-making processes across the group, which the risk assessment are performed based on predefined risk management process adapted from ISO 31000 guidelines as well as globally acceptable risk management practice. Lastly, risk appetite. So, risk appetite is the amount of risk that the organization prepared to accept in pursuit of its strategic objective. The group risk appetite and tolerance is determined by the board via the RMC, and it is communicated appropriately across the group. The risk appetite, which also shows Sime Darby Berhad's strategy, is documented in a formal written statement, which also known as risk appetite statement. So, in consultation with RMC and the Group Management Committee, the risk appetite statement was developed by GRM and being presented to the board for approval. So, besides, in order to guide the formulation and implementation of risk appetite statement, the GRM has also developed a
Risk
risk appetite
assessment,
framework.
risk recognition, and also risk rating together form the risk assessment component of the risk management process. Risk assessment involves the recognition of risks and the rating of them to determine the significant risk facing the organization, project, or even strategy. While risk assessment is vitally important, it is only useful if the assessment conclusions are used to inform decision or to identify what is appropriate risk response for the type of risk being considered. It should be seen as a starting point for the process of risk management and is certainly not end of the risk management. This is the risk assessment activity for Sime Darby, which is assessment involved and consists of annual strategy planning, quarterly risk profile submission and reporting, proposal or investment risk assessment, and also tender risk assessment. Next is a risk response. Risk response is the process by which identified risks are controlled. It is a fundamental step in any process of risk management. Risk response is a process of preparation and decision making in which stakeholders determine how to manage each risk. There are four chief hazards of a risk response, which include tolerance, threat, transfer, and also terminate. Some Berhad mitigate their own risk in various ways. Firstly, by continuously monitor their key geopolitical and macroeconomic development that may expose the business to any systematic risk. Monitor competitive strategy as well as expand business to the new territory and also introduce a new product. They also develop a business transformation initiative and also digital proving on their strategy to counter the trend of digitalization. And also they also engage and maintain strong relationship with their key principal and conduct diligent review of the investment proposals.
Model. Sime Darby takes a significant perspective of any wrongdoing of its employees, management, directors, and vendor, in certain with consideration of their responsibilities of the company's interests. Whistleblowing channels are set up to assist all stakeholders voice out concern without dread of retribution on any wrongdoing that they may observe and experience. The wrongdoing including fraud, misappropriation of asset, sexual harassment, criminal breach of trust, illicit and corrupt practices, questionable or improper accounting, misuse of confidential information, act or omission which are deemed to be against the interests of the company, law, regulation or public policies, giving false or misleading information including suppression of any material fact or information, breaches of group policies and code of business conduct, or the deliberate concealment of any of the above matter of other act or wrongdoing. The risk governance model that Sime Darby adapts is Whistleblowing Charter and Framework. Whistleblowing Charter content purpose statement. The whistleblowing channel, as set out in JPA B5, pursue to amplify corporate governance by assisting to adopt an environment where integrity and ethical behavior is sustained and any illegality, inappropriate conduct, or wrongdoing in the group shall be exposed. It also may act as an early warning system, and it is censorious that lessons learned through whistleblowing cases surface systematic weaknesses with the group, as well as disauthorize the group to use corrective action before serious damage is happened. Besides, the purpose of the whistleblowing channels is to give a formal confidential medium that be able to the related parties to report in good faith serious concern of any wrongdoing that could adversely affect the group or any of its subsidiaries, its employee, shareholders, investor or the public at large without fear of being subject to retaliation. Oversight and ownership of policy, in which the execution of this whistleblowing charter and framework is overseen by the senior independent director, and the senior independent director will distribute day-to-day responsibility for the administration and implementation of this whistleblowing charter and framework to the head of group compliance and integrity. The utilization and effectiveness of this whistleblowing charter and framework shall be frequently observed and reviewed by the head. Next is whistleblowing framework. Under whistleblowing framework, there are several steps or procedure to follow. One of the procedure or step is log of report of wrongdoing. All whistleblowing complaints finding finding of investigation and monitoring as well as corrective action shall be centralized and logged by head of GCI, and head of GCI shall assign a designated whistleblowing administrator in GCI to manage the log. The SID shall be informed of new whistleblowing complaints on a case-to-case basis. Secondly is investigation procedure. The head of GCI will have discussion with the SID to prepare relevant direction in relation to the conduct of investigation. Next is conduct of investigation. One of the circumstances is it shall be directly to line manager for resolution if preliminary assessment portray that the complaint claim wrongdoing that does not need the participation by group, corporate assurance or human resource, and in the condition that preliminary assessment shows a serious wrongdoing and where there are reasonable suspicion that line manager is implicated, not able to entrust with the investigation, it shall be directed to GCAD for investigation. In the case of preliminary assessment condition give rise to conflict of interest that it may consider to undertake the conduct of investigation. Next step is period of investigation. The complete investigation is conducted within 3 months and the investigation report will be reviewed by the head of GCI. Second last step is finding of investigation. The head of GCI will observe the corrective action to be taken to reduce the risk of the wrongdoing. In the condition systematic weaknesses were recognized, the head of GCI will monitor the rectification measures to improve the systematic processes within the group. The head of GCI will recommend behavioral training based on the group's COBC to share lesson learned and disseminate confidence of the whistleblowing channels. Lastly is decision and reporting. Proven cases will be provided to external auditor yearly as requested during external audit.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Fatia Suraya and I'm going to explain about the last part, which is recommendation and conclusion. Okay, so one of the recommendation is to recognize the limitation of risk assessment in the company. In general, risk assessment analysis usually relates significantly with few factors including knowledge, individual preference and character personalities of those who are involved. The analysis is done to identify to what extent the organization is ready to face any uncertainty events in the future. It can be done by comprising methods that could help the organization to achieve its business objective and what are the potential risks that might prevent them from achieving the goals. Besides, the senior management are also encouraged to treat the risk management significantly. And to improve themselves, they have to question themselves on how well the organization can handle the potential risks if they occur, or how they have improved from the previous event that they faced before. Furthermore, the senior management also must encourage the risk manager, to be more proactive in dealing with the risk so that they can keep the business framework in control. Okay, so in conclusion, Darby had mentioned some risks that occur in the company, which includes microeconomic risk, competitors, technology disruption, key principles, and more. Darby also has implemented some risk governance models in their organization. Governance model is very significant for every company to adopt, as it can assist them in managing and dealing with the risks that occur in the company. Some suggestion also has been recommended based on the international practice to Darby, so that it can help them to improve the risk management in the organization. So to conclude, risk management is very important in organization, as it helps the firm define their objective and the future of the organization. If the objectives are defined without considering the risk, they might lose their direction in managing the business and will not be able to handle the risk properly.